It's been just 2 weeks since recreational pot use became legal in Canada, and already Canadians are reporting problems at the American border. At least that's the case in Estevan, Saskatchewan. Roy Ludwig is the mayor of Estevan. He joins me now via Skype from his office in Estevan, Saskatchewan. Hi, Mayor Ludwig. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, how are you today?
Great, thank you. Mayor, you've said that some of your residents have been turned away at the border for admitting that they smoke pot. Tell us a bit more about what you've been hearing.
Well, I guess the one case that sticks out is the individual came to the border. He was asked by the customs officer if he had ever smoked pot. He laughed and said yes, 30 years ago. And then they searched his car and sent him back.
Were you surprised to hear that?
Well, yes, I was. And in his case, he had already booked tickets to Vegas. He was going to Minot, fly to Vegas, and spend a holiday there. So I think this is something we have to get a policy between the federal government of Canada and the U.S. and get this straightened out.
Now, was this gentleman questioned after marijuana was legalized here in Canada?
Yes, this was about three weeks ago.
And have you heard of any other cases in addition to him?
There was another case, but I never talked to the individual. He just mentioned that it had happened to him as well.
So do you think that... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I never had a long conversation with him, but yeah.
Do you think, is your impression that this is a question that is, I mean, are they consistently asking it? Are you afraid, are you concerned that other residents of Estevan will be stopped and asked the same thing?
I think they're asking quite a bit. I know my sister went to Arizona here about 10 days ago, and she was asked if she had ever smoked pot. And in her case, she said no, and there was no further questions.
Help us quantify the risk here. How many people from Estevan or in that area of Saskatchewan cross the border? Like, is it per day, per week? What can you quantify for us?
Well, I think there's fairly regular traffic, especially now with the U.S. dollar coming into Canada. We've got local people from the communities along the border coming into Estevan to shop for groceries. As far as other people going like to Minot, which is about 200 kilometers away, I think that traffic has decreased again because of the American dollar. But now that pot has been legalized, that brings up another whole issue. And that's why I feel we need a solid policy that really it's one thing if you're under the influence of cannabis or even for that matter, alcohol. But if you're sober, what does it really matter if you've ever smoked pot? I mean, is that a fair question to be asked and then to be turned away if you maybe smoked it 30 years ago? It seems a little onerous.
It's interesting because a few weeks, I think either the week before or a few weeks prior to legalization here, we did hear from the U.S. government. They apparently clarified that if you were traveling on, if you owned part of a business or you had something to do with the legal marijuana industry, as long as you weren't traveling to the U.S. on business about, marijuana-related business, if you were just traveling there for leisure, you should have no problems at the border. What do you make of that in light of what you've heard?
Well, I think the communication has to get down to the level of the customs officers. I guess the issue has always been, do they need the power that they have? They have a tremendous amount of power with the fact that they can ban you for life. And I don't know, is that really fair? It would appear not to be in some cases.
Is there anything, though, I mean, the federal government insists, that they've had many conversations, that they wanted to get some clarity as well, but essentially, the U.S. is a sovereign country. They're able to set whatever laws they want to. We can't really do much about that.
That's exactly right. I guess it's just unfortunate that may affect tourism into the U.S. So you would think that, they would work a little bit harder toward getting some of these issues resolved, for sure. And
is there an ask on your part of the federal government? I know you were saying sort of you're looking for more clarity on policy. Do you think that they should be pushing their counterparts in the U.S., continuing this conversation? Is there any tools in their toolbox you think they should be using?
Absolutely. I've got a call into Mr. Goodale. He's our only MP here in Saskatchewan, and I'm hoping that he'll get back to me, and I'd like to have that dialogue with him. But I mean, even our Prime Minister, who has admitted to smoking pot, does that mean that he's now banned from going into the U.S.? And if not, well, shouldn't it be the same for all the citizens of Canada? I would think so.
So do you anticipate here? I mean, just to be clear, you've heard from one person specifically, and then a second story whom you haven't spoken to directly.
That's right.
And do you? I mean, I guess you're basing your concerns on that one person. But have you? Are they concerned that there will be more cases? Are they making regular travel? Is that the issue, or is this possible that it's just a one-off?
Yeah, the issue is this: are people going to have to lie? Maybe they haven't smoked marijuana for 30 years, but say they did smoke 30 years ago, are they going to have to lie? Because if you get caught lying at the U.S. Customs, they can ban you for life. Are they going to have to take the fifth? And then what happens if they do that when they come back the second time? There's just too many questions left out in the open that should be addressed.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Thank you, Mayor Ludwig.
Okay, thank you.